How are we doing today, guys? Sets here and bringing to you today a bit of a different video because when I've been playing the game recently, I was just thinking about the old days, the days of the beta. And no, I don't mean the beta as in you press R1. I mean the beta as in the closed or open beta. I'm not sure which one it was. It's been a while. But in those betas, three characters, at least from my recollection, three characters, Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki, Shoto that is, they had more than just the quirks that they have now. And it was very interesting because those moves back then were actually kind of cool. And ever since that open beta, when the game transitioned to the full game, those abilities suspiciously disappeared. Now, I imagine it was to do with balance, most likely, but it was still very disappointing to see the variation of what they were able to do taken away, because once you got used to it, it was just nice to have. Now, when I say they had secret moves, different quirks, it was the same move, but you could apply it differently. So, for example, I'm going to show you Deku's first, and I think this is a fun video to do because I know a lot of people started playing this game from launch only, and a lot of people picked this game up at some point after launch. So there will be some of you who would know about this stuff already, but there are going to be a lot of you who have never seen this stuff before, or maybe you just forgot about it and it would be a nice trip down memory lane to see it. So, let me show you the first quirk variation, and it's Deku, so the one you saw in the thumbnail, or at least you saw a tiny part of it. So, here we go. Don't worry too much about sound. This is my footage from way back, so you don't need to hear me twice over. You don't really need the sound either, but yeah, so this one here, what I'm about to show you, it's his gamma. So his gamma, normally, you can pull someone towards you when you lock onto them, or if you're jumping in the air, you can attach it to a surface and it will pull you towards that surface. He still had that in the beta, but if you double tapped your gamma quickly, he would do this instead. How neat is that? So basically, he would use Black Whip as a close quarters melee option where you would swing debris essentially backwards and forwards, in a side swiping motion and hit the enemy for damage on each swipe. It was really good for getting, people out of the game if they were already down, or if there was a bunch of people or even just one person in front of you being pretty erratic in their movement. You could just swipe that thing out and it was very likely to hit them and very difficult for them to dodge. So again, I'll show you it again just one more time. So again, this is, one of the quote unquote secret quirks of the game that is no longer around and was in the beta but was taken out before the main game. So I'll let you guys see that one again. Pretty neat, huh? Pretty cool. So yeah, that was Deku's secret quirk variation in the game. I don't know what exactly to call these. I feel like I'm calling it something different every time. But yeah, it's essentially quirk variations of the moves that are in the game, which have been taken away. So yeah, that was Deku's. And now we're going to move on to Todoroki's. Okay, so Todoroki's. This one was quite interesting. And even though I don't play Todoroki a lot, I'm quite gutted to have seen it taken away because I think you probably could have made an argument for Deku's one being maybe a bit too much, hey, why does he get to have that as well on top of his other stuff? Personally, I would have let him have it anyway, but I can see why some people would make that case. This variation for Todoroki's Ice Wall, I don't think it was really that egregious. I thought it was kind of cool, kind of neat, and I don't really see why they took it away from him. I think he could have very well gotten away with this if they decided to leave it in the game. So, in this clip, just to give you guys a heads up, Todoroki still has his normal ice wall in the beta. You're not probably going to see it in this clip because why do you need to see something you've already seen? But he had two variations of the ice wall, and I'm going to show you the other one that was in the beta. And it's called Ice Bridge. So, as you can see right there, when Todoroki would use his beta down on the ground, Normally, it would come around him in a bit of a semi-spiral, you know, semicircle, whatever you want to call it, and it's effectively an ice wall. But there was another variation. I can't remember if you had to move in a certain direction or double tap. Doesn't matter. But either way, you could do an ice bridge. So it would be a mostly, as you can see, frontal. So it's not really around the sides of him the way that the ice wall would normally be. But it, what's the word? It creates a ramp. And on that ramp, you can run up that ramp and use it for leverage. If you needed to run up something, if you wanted to get, you know, the high ground over somebody who was down below. It was essentially creating an ice bridge for you and your teammates to run along. And if you look at it from the side, that's pretty much what it looks like. I'm going to do it again as well, so don't fast forward if you don't want to see it used more efficiently. So as you can see there, it goes in an upward slope. You can run up it, jump off it, whatever you want to do. And of course it damages the opponent the same way the other one would too. So if we move forwards a little bit, I'll show you it again. So I think it's around here I do it. It's quite weird and trippy seeing the old, what's the word? HUD, I guess, I don't know. Like in the top left, like you don't have all the same stuff. The KO feed is a bit different looking. So weird. Here it is. Come on, Todoroki, don't make me look like a liar now. Don't make me look like a liar now. Don't make me look like a liar now, boy. Here it is. So as you can see, slam down the beta into the ground. Now I can use this as a ramp to run up and jump off if I so chose. You can see what I mean. It's not exactly overpowered or anything like that. I think it adds another element to Todoroki for people to use if they would have kept it in the game. But, you know, people wouldn't have been screaming that he's overpowered if he had this as well as his normal ice wall. Look at that. Pretty cool, huh? Not as flashy as Deku's variation, but handy. It gave me an opportunity to get out of that situation without kind of having to run through people, you know, which could have saved me if someone hit me, maybe hit me with a combo or a melee quirk or whatnot. So pretty nice stuff right there. This was a video where I 3v1 in the end, and I believe I use it near the end too. Really, YouTube? You doing this to me now? So I used the ice wall to effectively knock this Cementos out of my small circle. And I end up winning that. But if you want to see that, you can scroll back into the ancient records of my channel to find it. Alright, so we had Deku, we've done Shoto, and now let's go to last but not least, unless of course you are looking at him from the perspective of the devs these days, Bakugo. Okay, and now finishing off the trip down memory lane for those secret variant quirks that many of you might not have ever seen before, might not have even known existed, or simply may have even forgotten that you had seen before, because it has been more than 6 or 7 months at this point. So Bakugo, his one is the Gamma. So Deku's was the Gamma, Shoto's was the Beta, and Bakugo's was the Gamma. So with this one, his normal one is the spinning, how it's an impact. But he did have another variation, and that variation was making an explosion occur right in front of him where he stood instantaneously. So in this opening scrap, I do it a bunch of times, so we can just watch it together. We can see how badly I play in the very old days when everyone was still getting used to the game and trying to figure out what the deal was. And of course, I'll call out for you when we do it. I think I'm going to do it here. I believe I missed this. And there it was right there. I'm going to hit it later on, but wanted to show you it just again so you can see it pretty clearly. Basically, you're gonna create a huge explosion, huge, you know what I mean, big explosion right in front of you. It's not that crazy, but essentially, if they're standing right in front of you, they are gonna take a hefty bit of damage, as if you hit the last part of the normal gamma, essentially. So I think we're gonna land it on a few people over the next few minutes or so. So we'll watch that together. Back in the days when no one knew what we're doing. There it is, right there. So essentially, you could get the end result of Bakugo's gamma, without having to go through all of the spinning, and you could get it instantaneously. Bang, just like that. So it was really good for just letting it go when someone found themselves in front of you directly or a little bit to the side, because the hitbox was kind of fanning out quite wide, as long as they weren't directly to your side. There you have it again. You can do it in the air too. So effectively, you just let off an explosion right in their face. We like to call it the glycerin facial. Nobody calls it that, and you shouldn't either. Look at that, the good old days as well. Another change. Did you see how that group heal didn't really heal that much of everyone's stuff? It was way more muted back in the day. Look at that, a beautiful showcase. This was a really good move. Some of these characters who are good Bakugo counters, or just people who are characters who are quite good against Bakugo, they have no idea how nice they have it. Because back then you had that move where people would just jump in your face as Bakugo and you could punch them for it. The way I punished this Froppy who tried to do her usual shenanigans back in the day. I said, okay then, how about this on your lily pads? Boom. Huge damage in one quick burst. Yeah, they didn't like that. A lot of people didn't like that. Maybe that's why they took it out of the game. But yeah, again, yeah, I can see why they took it out. You know, it's basically like having two different gammas for Bakugo. It was more reliable than the one they kept him with, which is why I was kind of annoyed when, at that time, they got rid of that and let him keep the howitzer impact rolling one, because I felt the rolling impact one was way less reliable for me. I felt as if the variation was just way more simple to hit, and it was more secure, because a lot of times you can rightfully hit that howitzer impact, the spinning one, and you will either miss it because you went past them somehow, or a wall blocked off your final impact, or whatever it may be. You just get cheated out of it. So I was quite annoyed when that was the one they chose to get rid of. But you know, this has been six or 7 months ago, so I've had time to get over it. But yeah, there you have it. So now you've seen all of the secret quirk variations. I was wondering if I was going to do it on that Mount Lady right in front of them, but clearly I didn't feel too comfortable. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that trip down memory lane. Yeah, no real reason for this video except from I was just feeling kind of nostalgic, and those moves came into my head, and I was thinking, hey, maybe a lot of you guys have never seen those before, and maybe you'd want to see them. So yeah, there you have it. If you'd like to see more videos like that, you know, a little bit different than just the gameplay stuff all the time, just let me know in the comments. And yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy seeing that. And if you are new to the game, maybe you've seen something you've never seen before, and if you aren't and you have seen that, hopefully it gave you a flicker of some good memories again. Would you like to see these quirk variations brought back into the game? Oh, I did it on her right there. Bang! And it got her out of All Might form. Yeah, would you like to see these back in the game? Would you not like to see these back in the game? And if you were to see one back in the game, which one would you like to see the most? Obviously, I'm a Bakugo main, so I'll take my Bakugo Gamma variant. But what about yourselves? In the comments, let me know which of those three variants, if you had to choose one to make a return, who would you like to see get their Gamma or Beta variant back in the game. Alright. What a ridiculous pause that is. Looks a bit strange. Perfect place to end the video. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy. See you on the next one.